Previously on Spenelli Speaks. This will be my last middle grade March review. Hi everyone, Danny here. Welcome back to my channel. I'm somehow home a little bit earlier today, and I've got some major natural light coming out of this window over here, so I'm sorry for all of the glare on my glasses, but that's what glass does. It reflects. So we're gonna roll right into today's topic. As many of you know, I am participating for the first time in the Booktube Prize, and I am super excited that I decided to do that this year. Definitely opened my eyes up to a few books that I probably would have never thought to pick up, and I'm happy that I did. So that you know, I am, or was, in nonfiction group A for the Octafinals, and I had a few selections that I might have picked up at some point in life, and some that I probably never would have even known about. So I was very happy that I was able to read these books. Now, that being said, none of these books were terrible. I think I realistically probably didn't give any of them less than a 3-star rating. But overall, I just ranked them primarily by my engagement factor. So how much I enjoyed reading them, and then also how it struck me, like if I felt like it was a powerful piece, like a book that I felt meant something. So the books that I had, I'm going to go ahead and talk about them in order of the 6 to number 1. So if you are new here, I hope you take some time and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Comment below, did you read any books for the Booktube Prize this year? If so, what group were you in? What group are you in next round if you are still participating? And have you read any of these books? So let's jump right on in. The number 6th rating for me was Zadie Smith's Intimations, and this was a collection of essays. It was a very short read. I think it was like 90 pages. It was very, very short, and though I felt like some of the essays were very powerful, some of them were just very lackluster for me, and I wasn't quite sure where they were going with what they were talking about. Now, even the essay that was the title of the collection, Intimations, that was probably my least favorite piece of the collection. So it was very odd that that would be the title, because that was probably my least favorite one. But still, I gave it about a 4 in the like scale. It just, for me, in my ranking of all the rest, I just didn't feel like it stood up as well against the rest of the books. In my number 5 ranking, I ranked Just Us by, I think it was Claudia Rankine, and I don't have any Rankine. I don't have any of the books with me because I had to take them all back to the library. When I first started reading this book, again, I think I gave this in the 4 to 3-star rating. When I first started reading this book, it was really fantastic in the sense that it was mixed media, and on the right hand side was the actual text that you were reading, and then on the left hand side there was supporting material, and that could be anything from like a definition or a picture or, you know, a photocopy, anything like that, that kind of went along with the text on the right hand side. And I thought it was really interesting. It's basically a lot about conversations about race and her experience with that, and her experience talking about it with other people who are white. And though I thought it was very impactful, again, just up against all of the other books, that was where I felt it fell for me, as far as just how involved I was with the reading. I think toward the middle point, I kind of was getting tired of flipping back and forth from looking at the picture and then trying to figure out how it corresponded to the text and vice versa. So it kind of stopped being cool for me to have that mixed media, because I just wanted to read and I didn't want to have to go back and forth. So for me, that kind of is why I got the 5th status. Number 4 for me was Barack Obama's A Promised Land, which that is actually one of the books that I ended up owning. So I own it now. And because when I tried to get it from my library, I was like 143 in the queue. So I was like, yeah, sounds like I'm gonna have to buy this one. And I'm glad I did. Like I said, these books are all great, and I think I end up giving this like 4 stars. He is an excellent writer, and he has so much to offer as far as, you know, his experiences and how he felt about things and everything that happened. But that was kind of my crux with this book, is it was literally everything that happened. It just kept going on, and he got so far into certain situations that I was just like, oh my gosh, can we just move on? Can we just get to the point? And though I really enjoyed that, I think for me, because I had 2 months to read it, it just felt like way too much. And I know that some people are like, you had 2 months to read it, but realistically, with the amount of books that I read, this kind of book where it's just so much material, it was starting to become a chore for me because it was just droning on and on and on. Fascinating information, but it just kept going and going and going. And this is only the first volume. So it's 750 pages, the very first volume. But again, very well written. Loved the ideas. I loved how he, you know, talked about his family and just his experiences and what he thought about certain things. It was really fascinating to get into his head. And I feel like this is something that you definitely should read. And I feel like I want to read more about other presidents and their experiences leading up to and in the White House. So I really appreciated that, but overall, it just fell for me in the ranking in these 6 books because I felt like it was a chore reading this, and it was just so much and so in depth that it was just too much for me. That said, it was still an excellent read, and I still highly recommend it. Okay, so in my 3rd spot, which is another book that I actually physically have because my good friend Laura at Book Bubbler was kind enough to mail it to me. I had it checked out from the library, and I checked it out in the beginning of the Booktube Prize, and then I had read other things and then had waited. And then when I was trying to renew this, I couldn't because someone else had it on hold. So I put it on hold again, and then it said that it came in, and that same day Laura had already sent it to me. But thank goodness she did, because when I went to go pick it up from the library, it was nowhere to be found. And the librarian was like, I have no idea where this book is. I don't know why it said it was here, because it's not here. So I'm so appreciative to Laura for sending this to me. And I rated this number 3 in the books. This was fascinating. It was not what I expected. So this is the address book, What Street Addresses Reveal About Identity, Race, Wealth, and Power by Deirdre Mask. I thought this was going to be more about, you know, socioeconomics and that kind of thing. And there is a little bit of that in there. And specifically, there's one chapter that talks about like Martin Luther King drives those streets and how that has kind of evolved over time. And I thought that was going to be the main piece of it just because of when this has been published. But it's actually way far more engrossing than that. There's chapters in here about India, places in Africa. There's it talks about the Rome structuring of streets. It even goes as far back as to talk about, you know, why there are numbers on houses, and it's so interesting. There were so many little pieces of like little nuggets of history in there that I was like, what? So it was so enrapturing. Like the whole time I was reading, I was just like, wow, like there are all these little pieces that I was completely blown away with. And I feel like this book could be twice its size and still have, like there'd be still more information about this topic. So I did put it in the third placement just because I felt like it was really good and it really struck me and I really enjoyed the information. But I also was wondering like if it was too hip-hoppy, like you're all over the place, hip hop anonymous. Anyways, and if there was more information that was left unsaid. But excellent read. Really, really enjoyed this one. Highly recommend it. In second place was Surviving Autocracy by Masha Gessen. This book blew me away. And I will tell you, when I flipped open the front cover of this book and I read what it was about, I was like, I'm going to hate this book. And from probably the first 3 pages, I was like, whoa, what is this? So this is essentially Gessen's like experience as being from Russia and having that like kind of government and seeing how there's potential of our government slowly going in that direction. And they give a lot of examples of how this has gone that direction into this autocracy, and not just current events, but also some others in our recent history. And it was really interesting. Now, primarily, there's a lot of examples from the Trump administration, which is one of the reasons why I didn't want to read it, because I was just like, I just really don't want to read about this. But I'm glad I did. If you follow me and you were part of my read with me this past Saturday, if you're watching this in relatively close to last Saturday, it was one of my read with me's. I was reading this book and it brought me to tears. And a lot of you asked me why. And it was a moment, there was an example that was given where Vice President Pence had gone to the musical Hamilton, which many of us know is about Hamilton, Alexander Hamilton, founding fathers, that kind of stuff, you know, building America, like that kind of stuff. And when he entered the place, he was booed by several people. And I don't know if it was a break or an intermission or what it was, but there was a moment where some of the cast came out and welcomed him and his wife, and basically had this drawn up speech or letter to Vice President Pence, you know, welcoming him to their musical and, you know, encouraging him to, you know, really think about what he's seeing there and take that back to Washington and help make our, you know, country what it was meant to be as far as like, you know, equal rights for all and all these things. And it really just hit me so abruptly, because in that moment and reading what I had been reading and knowing how that year went and how there has been so many atrocities happening to people of so many different, you know, people of color and people of different gender. And, you know, it's just, in that moment, they were like pleading with their hearts and just asking him to, you know, take this back. And I just, knowing what I knew it was like falling on deaf ears. I was just like, oh, so it really just hit me really hard and it just made me really cry. Which I don't cry a lot with books, but it made me feel really like all of my empathy went to that cast, because that was like strength to say that and plead that. And I just feel like it probably didn't go anywhere. So it made me really sad. So that's why this book really gripped me, and it really made me think, and it makes me want to do more and learn more and be better. So that's why it landed in number 2. And then finally, my number 1 book is the essays World of Wonders. And I wish I had it here so I could read the full title and the author's name. I know it's Aimee and a very long, lots of consonants last name, and I should be better about that and be able to say that, and I apologize. But 5 stars. Excellent essays. What I loved most about this collection was the language was just so beautiful. And the thing is in this essay collection, each essay is basically titled after either a plant or an animal of some kind. And the author really intertwines her upbringing and her experiences as a person of color and her place in the world, as well as in science, and being a person who is a scientist essentially, and even speaks of her mother, who I believe was a physician of some kind. And it was so cool how she would take the nature piece and the personal experiences piece and completely interweave them. And I am not like a nature reader. I don't read nature books. I've never gravitated towards that, but this was fantastic. Really loved it. I highly recommend it. I would want to have this for like my coffee table, to be like, if I'm just in a mood to like pick it up and like scroll to a certain animal that I want to read about. I will tell you, I felt so dumb. You guys, I had no idea that narwhals were a real thing. I, for the longest time, thought narwhals were just some like little animated caricature that someone decided to draw, and then they were on stickers and everything. It was like a Lisa Frank thing or something. And then when I was reading this essay, I was just like, this is nonfiction, isn't it? And I'm like, narwhals? Like, that's not a real thing. Like, that's so silly. I am an idiot, okay? I am an idiot. So I went online and I looked it up, and there it is. Narwhals. They're legit. They are legit. So, if you ever wonder if narwhal is a real thing, yes. Yes, it is. So that's my number 1 selection for the nonfiction Group A for the Booktube Prize. I am also going to be participating in the next section, which I believe is called the Quarterfinals. And I am in fiction Group A. So I have a couple of books, and I picked them up today, but I will talk about those probably later. Obviously, we can't really discuss anything about the books, what we feel about them, but I think I have like Pew is one of the books, Homeland Elegies, that Hilary Mantel book. There's this Deacon, oh my gosh, Deacon King Kong, and am I missing like 1 or 2? Yeah, so I'm in fiction Group A. So I will get started reading on those and let you know at the end of May what I think. So I hope that you all are reading something great. Again, comment below and let me know if you've read any of these books, if you are reading for the Booktube Prize. If you are reading for the Booktube Prize, what group are you in for this next round? So until next time, I hope you all are taking care and staying safe, and as always, you know how it goes. Happy reading. Bye.